What's up, guys? I see people popping in. Hey, I wanted to keep going this week. Last week, I jumped on and did a video about the first, when I do consulting calls, well, it's different than when I do webinars. And so when I do a training with a carrier that maybe they have one truck, maybe they're starting their authority, maybe they have 6 trucks and they've been in business 9 years. Whatever the problem is, right? Maybe they're a team or a husband and wife or they're getting their authority. And last week we came on and we were talking about where carriers go wrong, right? In a lot of different circumstances, right? Number one, we're going to speed through this real quick. I write everything out on sheets because it's very important as a consultant to understand who you're working with. So we're doing these one-on-ones. I have 3 tomorrow, 2 on Saturday. I did 3 yesterday, and we're doing them by hourly basis where we evaluate the company. We look at what they're in it for. Why did you buy the trucks? Do you want to keep the trucks? What we do with the trucks? How we make the trailers? And then how will you pay for everything? You know, it's kind of like the first thing is understanding the story. And if you guys have questions, type them in the chat, or please share the video, and let's talk about this stuff. You know, and it's really crazy because now that we have Shaggy Solutions, the compliance company, and we have the insurance going on. And we're in here doing brokerage, and we're doing dispatching a little bit too. We have like 3 trucks. Tyson's got one, Don's got one, and Amy's working on one. And so we're just tinkering with it, and we're just playing around. And so, you guys, last week we were on here, we were talking about who's involved, right? And it's weird, because I don't know if I get better people on this thing as Evamux, or if I get better on just doing it live. But anyways, I want to go on here and keep talking. We're live in a bunch of different areas. My head hurts. So always the first thing when we're open to authority, or even if we're doing dispatching or a brokerage, right? Why are we doing it for? We understand the story. What commodities are we going to go after? What kind of niche are we going to have? Are we just going to take any customer we get? You know, you don't have no credit when you first start. What is done to understand the story of what type of business we're running. Then, what roles will me, my wife, kids, friends, what roles will they play? Because, you know, there's a difference in these businesses. Like, are you going to be a one-truck authority where you drive and you're running around one breakdown, one load, one shitty broker or whatever away from getting in trouble? Are you going to be like the guy I talked to yesterday that jumped out there and he's got 2 company trucks, his wife's in an office working dispatching, he's trying to sell customers, they got stuff, but all they have is 2 company trucks and the money that they're making off of, and they haven't even done anything with the business yet, you know? And you're already in debt to your drivers. Are you going to be a company that starts the authority with owner-operators and never really owns anything but trailers? Are you going to be the guy that has company trucks and drivers and you don't even open your authority? You think it's better because you're too lazy to do the work, and you go out and lease your truck to somebody else and let them run you? Do you understand? So, like, you really think, then what kind of equipment are you going to specialize that's going to affect your recruiting, your owner-operators, and what you're doing? Hey, buddy, get a hold of me when you get a minute about insurance. Put your phone number in the chat right now. I can't really see the names and stuff on there, or text me at the 812-870 and I'll help you with the insurance. We're doing insurance, compliance, safety. We're really excited this week. We got our consortium set up. We're working with Quest. We can pull drug tests. Kathy's been working like crazy. We just put a ton of money down on our qualification driver PSPs. We're able to pull PSPs and MVRs and backgrounds like within seconds. Yeah, okay, Tim. Yeah, just text me, would you, to my 812-870-2039, Tim? So I wanted to really focus on what we're doing. So last week I came on and talked about this business plan. Why did you open your authority? Are you doing it for your wife? Are you doing it to be a one-truck authority? Are you just going to drive? I mean, because it's very important. Because, like, I think a lot of people that have a one-truck authority are so caught up with what brokers are keeping, what rates. They only one truck. We don't know what to do with it. You know, and all this stuff. It's very important for you guys to really understand the plan. Because a lot of the people I'm doing consulting with, they got so caught up with the freight, the freebies, and all the other stuff that was out there, they forget, right? What the plan is. And then what type of a trailer are you going to specialize in? Or how are you going to get those trailers? If you have loads broke down, how will you pay your bills? Is your wife going to support the business long enough? You know, we start thinking about this. What kind of trailer are we going to use? Where are we going to get them? If our trucks broke down or our trailers broke down, how will we keep our drivers moving? You know, next thing, what kind of product? So where will I get freight in the first 90 days? You know, when you have to look at this stuff right here, this is what you're looking at on DAT right now. I mean, there's nothing on here. Like when you see rates being posted by brokers and they can leave them there and they put their emails in there, and then the rest of the time you're getting called by dispatchers that are using brokers unless they actually have a brokerage, you know what I mean? And they've got customers themselves. You're dictated by this DAT spot market, you know what I mean? And it can only be fun so long. I mean, you do this in 17 and 15 and in 2010, 2008, you get to the point where you're in a trucking company, you have to learn how to get customers. You have to learn how to sell yourself. You have to understand what you're going to do with it. You can only run it like you're an owner-operator. I mean, really, an owner-operator works for a carrier. He doesn't get customers. He's always dictated what he does. He might get to do self-dispatch, but then if he does do anything, it's benefiting that carrier. What's the difference of you being a one-truck authority and not doing anything with it? Well, great. You got an authority. Whoop-de-fucking-do. You got a driver in a truck. Now you got debt. You know what I mean? You're on the load boards talking to brokers that can't move freight without trucks. I don't know where this me and Frank got to talk about this all the time. These motherfuckers selling cheap rates can't move it if you don't take it. Well, then if I don't take it from them, what do I do? Well, go get your own shit. You know what I mean? Start building a network. And so that's what we're talking about today. Like, you talk about all the freight that's coming up in March, May, April, these projects that are getting ready to gear up, if they do, right now, because inventory's so low. People aren't shipping. People aren't buying. Stimulus checks are done. Shelves on stores are empty for a reason, because people don't have to manufacture. There's no law that says a manufacturer has to stay ahead of demand. But you're pissed off because they don't want to ship as much? They're doing it more on their own trucks? Brokers are holding the rates, telling you all they got? Well, then go ask the customers yourself. Okay, I get it. You guys are only one truck. I hear that all the time. You're one truck, two trucks. This load board doesn't ever help us. It's crap. It allows all the double posted, triple posted. Half you guys don't even know how to post on there. We're so caught up freight chasing with one truck that we can't be in an area enough to even service a customer if we got one. So let's go back to reevaluate why you got your authority. Not talking about the YouTubers, the Instagram, the guy that said it was easy, your friend that talked you into it, none of that stuff. So what is your plan? Like, how many people in their first 90 days drew a 150-mile radius around where they live, right? Around where you live, or went out to a city 300 miles, turned around and went right back. Or if you're a team, You live in the Midwest. Why didn't you go Charlotte to Minnesota, Minnesota to fucking Cleveland, Ohio, or vice versa, something like that, and that down to Memphis or Little Rock or Arkansas, and start building those lanes consistently and find every motherfucker that has freight in it that's open appointment, and then constantly do that because you only have one truck and you can't be there to help them out, or you're too scared to call brokers ahead and plan and ask for rates, but brokers do that to you. You can't do this job. I mean, how are we telling people exactly what we want when we're never in the same place twice and we're chasing all what everybody else left on the table and worried about what other people are making? But we're not concentrating on what we need, right? So where will I get freight in the first 90 days? Will I go to eCarrier Check, call customers direct? Will I research them the right way? And then if I am a 1 truck or 2 truck, 3 truck, 5, 6 truck authority, why haven't I ever made the second call? Why do I let all those other people manipulate me when all I got to do is ask for it? I mean, how many times have you been on the phone with a broker where they start out the call like, yeah, man, we just got this lane. It's right down the road from your house at a customer. You're like, well, how the fuck did they get that? Well, they had to make fucking calls. Or they found other people that were servicing that customer and figured out they couldn't do it. So they went and found the trucks to do it cheaper, better, or vice versa, right? But do we make the calls? Like when that guy's on the phone with you and he says, hey, yeah, I just got this load. We're bidding the freight. It's not contracted now. We're just doing quotes. Hopefully we'll get more of them. It's right down the road to your house. It literally picks up 2 trucks on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Next week is Tuesday and Thursdays. And we just need a carrier that wants to live load 2 trucks, and we can go give them the rates. You're like, well, what the fuck rate do I give them? Well, what is your rate? Not everybody else's rate. What's your average rate you need to cover all your expenses? Do you even know, or you just worry about what everybody else leaves? So first, you probably need to figure out that part, your consistent rate, that paycheck, So what will you do in the first 90 days? Like when you're waiting in your authority to get active because everybody told you it's a great idea to jump out there and the dispatcher fails on you in the first 90 days. So to prepare for that dispatcher not to fail on you, how many brokers, what kind of posting, and what are you really telling people that you want to haul? Do you want to do local and dedicated? 300 mile out and back? Do you only want to run the Midwest? Are you going to run Midwest, Northeast? Minus New York City and Maine and all that, and some of the Southeast. Like literally, like what is your plan to get this freight to pay for your truck, trailer, fuel, fixed cost, and escrow? You know what I mean? Like what region are you really going to run? Are you going to run up here in the Northeast where there's nothing up here in the top? Are you going to run the 5 boroughs right here? And where all the tolls and there's no parking, you can lose a load? Or are you going to build 5 or 6 cities and concentrate your whole business plan to get your guys home on weekends and maybe work this Northeast? I mean, there's so much opportunity. Just pick a couple of cities right here. Start working your angles. Know your miles, your geography of what's happening. And build a little box right there. And pick these big cities right here. And start letting everybody know in the world that you do local, you do dedicated, you do regional in that area. That's your product. How many people do you network with a day and call them and ask them and tell them, hey, I can help you with your type freight. I specialize in that. I've already seen your loads you're having trouble with, but I found the trucks, including my own, and I can help you take care of those. Here's our rates. Here's our MC Authority insurance, and we're good to go. Give us a shot. I mean, when you call brokers all day long and ask, when's it pick up, when's it do, or what's the rate, what's the commodity, I can help you full time. What's the difference in doing that to a customer? When you call a broker, do you always get to the right person you really talk to, or do you have count reps blocking the way? What is the difference from gatekeepers to finding a logistics manager? I mean, if you call these guys and they don't need your help, why are you calling them? Is every customer the same? Some are cheap. Some don't have to move it right now. Some shit's urgent as hell, man. Medicine, COVID medicine, military stuff, doors, windows, commodities. What are you really going after? Just anything? Where are you going to run? Are you going to run the Midwest? Are you going to pick like 4 or 5 spots in the Midwest? Excuse me. Midwest? and build a little area that you run where you're there all the time and get 25, 30 brokers or customers in these 5 areas and start to build your lanes? Or are you just going to run all over the place? Are you going to build your areas? What are you going to build? You know, you start thinking about these designs and you're like, well, there's not always freight off and on. Well, you hauling contract freight? You going after stuff they manufacture all the time, or are you going after seasonal stuff? What was your agenda? You going after stuff more specialized like whiskey, like windmill blades, specialized stuff? Or are you guys just chasing everything? Are you guys, 1 week you go from Terre Haute to fucking Washington, down to Daytona Beach, Florida, up to Maine, out to Denver, like an idiot, chasing freight, hoping your luck changes for you sometimes? Or are you building a lane between St. Paul, Minnesota, Charlotte, Cleveland, and maybe Memphis or Little Rock that's far enough apart that you could do straight across, you could go at an angle, and you could go at an angle, or you could go straight across, and you could keep yourself running on open-ended appointments or dedicated freight. And if you're not specifically telling people all the time what you want, then why are you mad when they call and offer you shit you don't want? I mean, you're not telling us anyways. I mean, you get out here, you get a load board, you get your DAT, you get your Selectus, you get your Quickway, you get all these places that count on those things, but you don't do anything different. So, like, you even go down here to the southeast, right? You start looking at the southeast. No one said that you have to leave the southeast. I mean, there's tons of products. There's paper, there's freaking lawnmowers, equipment, military, trees, peanuts. What's up, guys? How are you? We got a Southwest on there. Okay, so let's look at the Southwest. Let's go to the Southwest for a second. As soon as I change back to my map. So let's look at the Southwest. We'll go back to drawing again. And we'll go over to Southwest. So you look at the West Coast. Everybody at the West Coast wants to run from here all the way across, or they do this like Dallas thing like that. You can have an angle, you know. Or what if we concentrated our business plan to these states right here, in this corner right here in the Southwest? Maybe we put it right here. So in this area right here, everybody's like, it's so hard, but we don't network. We don't take the time to let people know 30 to 60 days out at a time that we want to run this certain region, right? I'm telling you guys, we don't. So what if I was to get my mouse to work? All right, so let's change the color and go back to red. So what if this is where I wanted to run, right? This little area right here, which is a big area right here, right? So what major cities are in this area? Because most of your work's going to be out of those cities, and if you concentrate on those major cities for 30 to 60 days at a time, and not today and tomorrow. And one of the worst things I was told in the last month is a lady told me, why would I even go and call brokers when I don't have trucks to network? Well, you think the brokers just wait around? I mean, come on, guys. Everybody networks ahead of time. We're always planning ahead in business. We're not waiting for the day and tomorrow. That's what the fuckers are getting manipulated or happening to them. We don't want to do that. So we got Albuquerque, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, El Paso, and Cheyenne. See, I get that. So you're going to stretch over a little farther. I get it. So you put them in there. So you got LA, you got Salt Lake City, you got Las Vegas, you got Phoenix, you got Yuma, there's Nogales, there's Chandler, there's just Salt Lake City, Utah. Pick those areas. Make your box. Make your lines. And go in there and start connecting to those major cities like that. Start drawing your lines. Just go up the chain, right? All the way up, come back out, go around. Start making those cities. Post those cities. Post those cities going from Vegas to LA, LA to Phoenix, Phoenix to Cheyenne, or El Paso to Denver. And leave those, post those up there. Post them in lanes. Like going from here to here, here to there, so you can start seeing all those loads that people are moving, right? And then start building. Like, it's like everybody makes this so hard, right? And I want to keep going. I don't understand why it's so hard. I do these consulting classes, right? And I'm teaching this on here. Like, first is, why are you going to get your product? Where are you going to run? Like, how are you going to pay that $7,500 a fucking week you need for your one truck authority? How are you going to pay that $3.30 a mile you need to cover your company driver, your truck, and make a profit for every mile? I mean, not everybody can go out there and manipulate their e-log at a company where they want you to run 4,000 miles because they got some dude, some office sitting there waiting for you to call so you can have magic hours pop up that you're going to kill somebody later on and go and wonder why you fucking can't drive no more. You know what I mean? Those companies aren't going to last long. They're cheating. And you just can't do it. What you do is you build a product that works for you, and then you add to the product with owner-operators. Maybe you flip your trucks into lease purchase. You have a plan, right? It's just like, why would we want a brokerage when we're a carrier? Well, obviously, if you're going to go from one truck with your plan to 2 or 3 trucks, the first thing you got to do is be able to be bigger than you are when you go to a customer. So that way, if you do have to cover more loads than what you have, so you can keep the assholes out of your customer, you have a brokerage to do it. And then you got to figure out which way you're going to do that. Because if you find a lot of carriers that will work with you when you're a new brokerage, you're probably going to need to help dispatch them too. So do you take on carriers that fit your plan? Or do you take on carriers that don't? Well, obviously, you should stick to your plan, right? So, same way with them. Whether it's your truck, you're driving it, you have a driver, or it's an owner-operator leased. Once you have your plan of where you're going to run, whether it's local, dedicated, regional, the next step is to network and let everybody know that you're in those areas. People don't do it. They get lazy. They get compliant. Freight's easy to pull off the board. But when it's all said and done now, you guys are crying like motherfuckers, wishing you had those networks now, wishing whenever Johnny fought off that gold mine load that's still moving, you were available at a certain time so I could call you and offer it to you and give you the opportunity to get in it. But you weren't, because you're never at the same place twice. Some of you are. You know what I mean? So we talked about the week before learning. Are you going to do a 150-mile radius? Are you going to find 3 or 4 cities and go out 300 miles and come back? Are you going to go on that DAT load board and post it out for 30 to 60 days so people that you don't have a truck for can call you and tell you what they need help with in the future? And you can make sure you're available, or are you just going to hope they look you up on Carrier 411 or Safer and call you? Like right now, you get all these calls from brokers offering you to be your salesperson to sell your rate, or they call you, ask you what you do it for, and never hear from them again, right? Which brokers do you want to work with? There's good and bad and everything. And what I always think, too, is when you guys are doing your networking, make sure you guys always take the time. It's real simple. And guys, just do an Excel spreadsheet, right? And put 2 tabs on there. One tab is for your brokers. And there's 2 kinds of brokers. I don't care what anybody says. One is called a guy that you can conversate with, friend, and he actually has loads coming out of one of your cities that you actually want to be in, or you're trying to build a product in so you can stay local or dedicated or regional and hire people to do that too. So one of those brokers is what we call a networking broker. That's the guy you call up where you ask him, hey man, I noticed you guys are a broker. Do you guys put all your freight on the load board? Do you guys send out emails? You like to build relationships, or you have an internal load board? Well, usually they have this part 2 or 3, because if they just throw it on the load boards, why the fuck would you even want to work with that guy? Like literally, what ambition do you have with a guy that, number one, his name is John, but he sounds like some whatever the fuck his name is, you know what I mean? And you know, when you have a problem, you're so hard up, you still take a load, you don't care who it is. But when you have a problem, you got to go back and deal with that guy. The guy with whatever his name is, fucking, you can't even hear him because he's talking on a magic jack from some third world country. Like my truck is worth $1 million. Like everybody's trying to sue me. I'm in the deadliest job in the world. I'm always jumping through hula hoops to get freight there, and you want to treat me like I'm an asshat communicating to me on the phone. You know what I mean? You don't want to work with those guys. You're looking for the guy that talks like Shaggy, that communicates, understands his customer, talks about what you're going through. He may not have all the freight. So you got 2 kinds of brokers that email and have load boards. You got some that are account reps for brokers, but they can still help you move a lot of freight, and they're okay. Or you got guys that are brokers that they own the freight. It's their freight. They're liable. They need you to haul it. Those are friends. Those guys are the ones we want to email and tell them where we're at, what we're working on all the time. Not just where we're getting empty, but tell them about the loads that you're working on a regular basis, like from Indy to St. Louis, or St. Louis to Indy, or St. Louis to Charlotte, or maybe we're doing LA to Phoenix, Phoenix to Denver, Denver to Dallas, and Salt Lake City, Utah over to Oregon, Oregon back, and then everything in between. Why are we specific on what we're looking for? You know, whenever you're a broker, I've learned this more and more now, and I'm a broker, and I go look at the trucks posted. Like 90% of the people that are posted don't tell me exactly what they want. I'm like, well, how do I get this shit covered? How do I find a carrier that can do this on a regular basis? None of these guys tell me shit on the posting board. You know what I mean? So set up a simple spreadsheet. And there's two kinds of networking. One is where I call them. Two is where they call me. Well, the first problem so let me explain something real quick too. I've learned this really well over the years. So when a broker sends me a load that's not covered in an email, that probably means the customer hasn't covered it either. Let me repeat that. So when you see loads coming out of areas with brokers you may not have even set up with, they give you the pickup time, the load, the brokers, how many work there, the volume, if it's urgent or not, or if it's cheap freight, all in the conversation by asking the questions. And believe it or not, a lot of times they'll tell you the rest of the information you need because they're reading it off something they got from a customer. Now, whether or not you can handle as many loads as they're handling or you got enough trucks to do what you got to do, but I'm telling you, it's the second call. You have two kinds of brokers. One's that you just want their loads and their information for you to network later on when you put your big boy pants on. The other one is you want people to be in a relationship because you want 25 brokers to have freight from St. Paul, Minnesota to Charlotte. 25 brokers with freight from Cleveland to Memphis. 25 brokers with freight going for this area. Your job. And if you're not always available letting people know what you want, how do you expect us to call with all the double broker and co-broker and fraud that's out there right now? Like you guys can't even go through a day when you get 25 texts, 25 calls an hour, somebody that you can't understand telling you what they want to do better with your own company, right? Because they're so hard up, right? People don't even network. You don't do it. And then you wonder why you're getting taken advantage of, and it feels like you walk around the wobble between your two ass cheeks from the Vaseline that you got to shove in there all the time just so you can sit down, right? So we have two kinds of brokers that are out there. Three. One you don't want to work with. That's three. Two is the one that you want to work with, but you just want to have a relationship, get set up with them, and have them email you their loads. Number three, those are your friends. Those are the 25 people that have freight that specifically and where you want. Those are guys you want to work with. You don't want to steal their brokers because they already understand they need you as a carrier to survive in this market because it's so up and down. What's up, Willie Lambert? He says, blah. What's up? That's got to be William Triplett or somebody. All right, so make your spreadsheet. If you're driving down the road, and so you're going to have two calls. One is where you're calling outbound because you've seen a lane that you're interested in or something you want to find out more. When you hang up with those, Willie's working. I get it all the time. When you hang up with those people, don't hang up when the rate's too cheap. Don't hang up because you didn't like the lane. Make sure you always kicking bullshit people. I get it, brother. Always network. Now, if you can hold a conversation, they have potential planes coming up, something that you're working on that you like, put them on your friends list, set them in an email campaign, and send them emails 3 times a day. Keep them posted so they know what they're doing at all times. Don't forget 4 and 8 at night because that's when problems happen, guys. You want to be the guy that fills that void when William Lambert's assistant carrier stops hauling for him and he needs people to step in and he don't want to put it on the load board. You need to be available. Make yourself available. And not today and tomorrow or next week. 30 to 60 days from now. Those are when stuff happens. March is when everything's coming around. I am definitely sick right now. I'm coughing like crazy, but I'm in my office. I'm not blowing it on everybody. And then another thing, too, when you're on these phones with these brokers or you're researching lanes and you see stuff you like or you have a bill of lading or Raycon or you're just Google Chambers of Commerce or you're thinking about the commodities that you want to look for, just make a simple tab over here. It's all scams. That's why I'm telling you to use the load board to find the stuff that you want instead of looking for just loads daily. So then you see like my spreadsheet. I got my spreadsheet going. I got B&B Foods, More Scale, Far Best Foods, Master Brands. I'm just building it as we work. On Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm going through all this stuff and I'm going to make it a second call. You know what I mean? Especially if I know for a fact that there's mom and pop carriers going into those facilities and stuff like that. And e-carrier check makes it so much easier for me, you know? So, And so when we're teaching all this stuff in one-on-one, I see that more and more people get caught up relying on one brokerage, like this broker or that broker, because they feed you so well that we forget about there's so much opportunity, and we got to keep adding to it. We can never get comfortable, right? There's so many different avenues and markets, and if we don't find those problems and figure out how we can solve them ourselves, then we end up on this piece of shit right here with C.H. Robinson, Coyote, Alan Lund, Suntech, R&R, Five Star, and all those guys. The only time they need us is whenever they can't find trucks. But when they can find trucks, it's screwed, right? So then we start thinking about our product, because freight chasing never helps, especially when you're one truck. I mean, the only thing you do for all the time is hear your friend Jimmy call you and tell you what your wife's doing. And then, well, come on, guys. You want to be home, get paid, and you want to build a product. Nobody wants up and down. And once you find out the puff and smoke's all gone and the $1 million wasn't as easy as you got, and when you got it, you didn't do it right, the taxes eat your ass up, because you want to just do that thing where you get ahead for once and stay ahead. So you got to build a plan, right? So now you get through the part where you figure out how to secure freight. You start working your area. You utilize all the networks, the boards, the brokers out there. You start skimming through the scumbags and start finding the real ones. And you let yourself be known what you want now, exactly what you want, whether it's the Region 5 or Region 4, Region 3, 2, and 1. You got to figure out, are you going to keep chasing the seasonal spot load board shit? Or are you going to go start hauling some of the stuff that they move all the time? Consistency wins in the long run, right? So what do you guys start doing to your authorities? Now you got your active, you're 21 days in, you either got your company trucks or you're driving that one truck yourself. Start thinking about all the costs that you're having, like insurance, direct bill finance, how you add on owner-operators with or without a down payment. You start thinking about trailers and how you're going to lease them. You start thinking about your orientation. You start thinking about understanding power only and towaway. And why are we not looking for customers that need just tractors to pull their own trailers? The more I can expand, the more I can do, but I have to have a product. You start thinking about, why am I renting and leasing trailers from places when I still got to put a down payment, when I can go to Scott Harbor Capital or different people and start leasing trailers and allowing other people to pay it off? You start thinking about how you're 3 to 6 months in or 2 years in, and what was like the first year is not like the last year. It's definitely not the same last year. So my business plan changed, because the first year, 2 years ago, I could run company trucks and make money. But now I can't. Oh, it sucks because I can't find drivers. They're sitting. I lose a day. I'm always borrowing from one truck to the next. But it seems like everybody wants to buy a truck. What do? How do I flip all my expenses to somebody else and still keep my company going? You know, I think so. I see a lot of people that are doing this, that's jumping in, watching YouTube, still being influenced by dispatching services, and not having a plan. Because if you're not willing to do all this work and really put a system together and do it step by step, like get the freight before you go active, know how you're going to pay your bills, understand how your insurance is not $20,000 a month, it's $418 a week, and how are we going to pay that every week? How am I going to cover $4,000 of expenses with my truck before I haven't even paid myself? And am I going to do it 1 week, 4 weeks, or 50 weeks? Or am I going to be happy doing it every other week? Then am I going to sacrifice my home time? Or am I going to be a product to get out of the fucking trucks while I got my authority? Is my wife going to keep working the dead-end job for $40,000 a year that's barely kept us going? Or am I going to put on 2 owner-operators that will cover that and give her a raise? But if I go to put on owner-operators, now I got to risk my authority. Oh my God. How am I going to do a lease agreement that states the rules, or company driver policy, or the orientation, or make sure if a driver comes to my company, his truck isn't a piece of shit, even though he shits golden turds? Literally, I'll fire that motherfucker out in a minute. Bing. No one could hold a string to that guy. Is your compliance company going to do it? How many hats are you going to wear? Obviously, it's not a free for all. So, what is going to be your niche? What are you going to specialize in? I mean, did you literally have a plan that you're going to get your authority, let some dispatcher run you on the best paying freight out there all the time, all year, and you're actually going to be able to get people to trust you to lease on? No, that's why you're having. That's why you guys have safety problems. That's why you're not growing your business. That's why you don't have your own product, because you're relying on somebody else that runs 8 other people's product. Come on. I've been on here, I don't know how long, 35 minutes. And I want to just recap what we talked about last week, because this is what I'm talking about in compliance. You know what I mean? It's just like, well, really, did you really go to that person's training school to be a dispatch? Did you leave a job where you had a salary, or you're getting paid by the hour to take some dude's $400 training class, right? Oh, yeah, for $65 a month, he'll be there for you after that, too. Just go ahead and get 1,500 people in there that are doing that, you know. And don't get that there's only 250 new authorities, and 100 of those guys every day won't even go in business. And there's 9,000 people calling them to offer them services better than you. But don't worry, you're going to go and get your dispatching degree, your certification that e-carrier check keeps promoting all the time. Then you're going to get out there with your software, and you're going to call people up all day going, yeah, Shaggy, you want this load? Yeah, I worked all morning, done 8 packets. None of the packets worked out. I've been in here all day, and I got this one load for $1,700. I'm going to make like a couple $100 off of it. It's only a couple $100 I made all week. Are you sure you're going to take that load? Do you need it? Oh, you don't need it? Oh, sorry. You want me to look for another one? Okay, I will. You already covered yourself? Okay. Well, I was trying to hurry really fast. You got load boards too? Huh. Man, it's nice. Taco Bell is a lot better, but I mean, at least I knew I was getting paid. That's not. You don't want to run your business like that, because if the carriers were doing the work like you are, then we would not be using you. That's the problem. And if you're so good at it, then you should know what you need to make and how you're going to adjust your plan as a dispatcher. I mean, you see all these people out here, they're like, man, we ran this many trucks and we only made we did all these packets, we did all this talking, we made all this shit. We got loads canceled, people stole our brokers after they left because they didn't need us no more. And shit, we only made freaking was about a little bit more than what I was making, but at least I was at home, you know what I mean? Then you're like 210 trucks at $300 a week, which is about 5%, but it's a flat fee for my time. That's $150,000 a year. And if you're really as good as you preach in your flyers, you should be able to take my company and grow it. Because in the right mind, a real dispatcher wants to turn one company in 30 trucks and make sure they're fitted into the plan. Why would you want to be like a daycare where you take 30 owner-operators and have to teach them how to wipe their ass on a daily basis and call that fun? Seriously, come on. And the rest of them want you to jump through imaginary hula hoops because all they're thinking about all the time is what you're not getting for them, how much money they're leaving on the table, and what brokers are keeping, because they have no clue what they're doing because they're not even running their own business from day one. Anyways, so what is your plan? Will you guys have company drivers? Will you guys lease on owner-operators without any company drivers? Will you guys buy trailers and flip them? Will you guys have company drivers and owner-operators? Do you have a plan to guarantee that you're going to make your money that you need to cover your truck, trailer, fixed cost, escrow, factoring fee, insurance, and your paycheck? And are you going to do that empty loaded every mile? Or on average, are you going to be one of those guys that leave stuff on the table because you're worth every mile the same amount? If they don't give it to you, you're not good at it. You don't do the average stuff. It makes your 5th grade brain too complicated. Is that what happens? Or you're always worried about what everybody else is doing? Here's another thing too. And when you're setting up your authority, do you really understand why a brokerage is so important to a guy that really wants to work? Now, see, there's a difference here. If you're one of those guys just going to work for everybody else, use load boards, don't care, then by all means, don't understand what a brokerage is for. But for you guys that are tired of getting dicked around on DAT and told what to do all the time, and you start making calls and learn how to see the pictures and see the signs and make that second call, When you land that second call, how are you going to help them bigger than what they are, better than the guy before if you don't have that extra trucks or you're only three? The minute you bought that second truck, you became investors. So why isn't the brokerage in play? I mean, a lot of you guys, it's $900 for a bond and whatever it takes to set up the authority or whoever you use, and that brokerage could sit there and just age. So that way, the minute that you go out, you get that customer, you need to be able to work with other carriers. You're ready, right? You don't have to pay nothing else. You don't have to be like these guys that are running up $800 a month bills on stuff and they're not making no profit because somebody told them they should. And then if you do have the brokerage, do you understand why the liabilities are involved? The risk? So many people, whenever they're going to all these companies, the companies set up their authorities and they get into that 21-day timeline. We're so fixated. I want to explain this too. The 21-day timeline isn't nothing. That's just something the government has. There's no like fire that's stuck up your ass that makes you have to go faster. You're not going to get electrocuted if you don't go activate your authority in 21 days. There's none of that stuff. And I'm so tired of people getting so hard up just because they have a shitty job at the time or something ain't going right. So they take all their savings and listen to some person and go and file it, quit their job, file their authority. And they're in such a rush to get active by the 21st day that they don't even put together a plan. What are you going to do if you don't go active in the first 30 days because it takes you 2 weeks to get your plates because you didn't get your plates yet? Did you buy your plates when you're released on? Do you have the freight guarantee to work to pay your bills? Do you even understand it? If dispatchers can get low boards to start networking, why aren't you? You're running a business. You're worth $1 million. Every mistake that somebody else makes that's helping you with your business comes back and you're writing the check. They're not helping you. How many trucks will you grow in the next year? How do you add owner operators with the down payments or without down payments? How do you set it up pay? How do you protect yourself? Is your orientation going to be about 2 hours? Hey, Jeremy, how are you? The insurance approved you here. Jump in a truck. I mean, these are things that no one is talking about or thinking about, and we're throwing it all out to everybody else, hoping they're there for you. Like going to an accountant at the end of the year and he tells you he owes $50,000 more in tax than you're supposed to. Why didn't you do bookkeeping? Why didn't you keep up? Why didn't you know better? These are some of the things that I like to go over and put into play when I'm teaching people on my consulting. And every business is the same. If you're not in control and you don't understand it or you can't make the calls, then you either have to hire somebody to do that job for you. It has to be done. You don't just get to skip it. There's no exceptions. Anyways, I'm going to get off here. I just wanted to do some more talking because this is the things that I keep seeing with established carriers and carriers that we forget because we don't take the time to go back and reevaluate. Well, we're in. We just keep going with it, hoping it works until we smash into that wall and our face looks all flattened out. You know what I mean? Anyways, see you guys later. I appreciate it. I hope you guys like what I had to say. Spread the word, share the thing, talk to people, tell them we're here to help. We got one-on-ones Friday, Saturday, Wednesday through Saturday available. In-persons Monday and Tuesday right here in my office. We're not focusing on teaching people in webinars. We're not focused on teaching people no more all this stuff. We're focused on using our insurance company compliance and all that other stuff to helping you guys be successful, right, Juan? You know what I mean? That's the whole point. And I'm probably the guilty cause like a lot of them. Everybody said you go out here and make these millions, you could do this, you could get trailers. But there's so much more involved, right? So our new goal, my personal goal, is making sure we're here for you guys step by step. It may take a few hours to do it, but at least you know you got help. And we're doing it, you know what I mean? Like, we've done it. We've been there, right? We're not making this shit up. I see nobody having business plans. You're all getting caught up. It's important. Know what you're doing, what you have on the table, what to do with it, and the money that you're not making. Residuals, networking, product, multiple streams, leasing trailers, owner-operators, diversity, flipping insurance, flipping this, flipping that, cartwheels, all that stuff. If you're just caught up in the one groove right now and it's running like rough road, you got to stop, guys. It's not going to work. If you're not doing sales for your business constantly, then you're just in a rut, waiting to hit that wall. You have help. Give us a call. We'll help you. Share, video, whatever. Set up your authority, teach you how to do it, walk you through it, fix your fix your authority. My phone number is rotating through this whole video, 812-870-2039. The website, shaggyconsulting.com. We would check out our compliance company. It's up and rolling. We do everything from drug testing to audits, driver qualification, lease agreements, application hiring, consulting, new audits, entrant audits, bad audits, corrective action plans, and everything in between. We're working on insurance, renewals, new biz, consulting while we're doing the new biz with Cornerstone, and a couple, we're working with them. Me and Kyle are doing a bunch of different things. Isaiah, Tyson, and Don Baker, man, they're calling customers. We're calling with clients. We're Mondays and Tuesdays. Isaiah went out and took donuts. Don's going to a customer and bringing the security guard lunch. She already talked to him, and he loves homemade lunch. The ladies inside couldn't believe he got past them. We're making calls like crazy. We're doing homework. We're networking with brokers now because when brokers network with us, we see the lanes, and we're getting calls. Like, I had a guy call me today. They're starting to start February 1st. They start a whole bunch of automotive dedicated. It's nice seeing the new lanes that are popping up from all the mega brokers since you lazy motherfuckers are too lazy to make the calls and get them yourself since you got the trucks. Just kidding. I didn't say that out loud. Bob has been gone for 2 years now, and then Ernie came in after him, and Ernie's not really around either. Some people are still using Ernie. We're not promoting nothing. I'm not using Penny or anybody right now. It's we just, it's all cool. Everybody helps. There's nothing wrong with anybody, but everybody chooses their own path and stuff. And for me, if I refer a product anymore, I want to make sure that I'm backing it up with what I think it teach, and I want to make sure we're backing it up ourselves. So we actually went and bought the drug testing consortium. We partnered with Quest. Miss Betty Ladine, that's in our group, got Kathy certified to pull the drug testing. This week we bought into a system. Oh, not evil Bob Best. Bob Best, man, I wish I knew what happened to Bob Best. He called me, and last time I talked to Bob and his family, they were having trouble. He got sick. I haven't seen Bob on Facebook. I tried calling. He was in the hospital. I think he had some trouble with his heart or something, and he told me to keep doing what I'm doing, and then I have not seen him since. It's been like 2 or 3 months. That's like my best buddy. I wish he would respond. But a lot of stuff going on. It's crazy. We're really working hard at changing stuff. And Frank's doing his live shows every Tuesday. I'm going to jump on and help him. We're just trying to bring some of the education back. But I'm trying to go through this every week. I'm trying to come on and talk a little more. We're like, well, man, I hear so many stories. I had a lady call me the other day. Her insurance company set up her authority for an F-250 haul of freight. That guy set up all the authorities on using his own information. And these people are all screwed up. They don't even know if their dog's leading them backwards or forward. It's like they just hold the tail up and see the poop hole. You know what I mean? So that's exciting. A lot of people need to be starting their authorities and stay working and build their network and then transition into the authority when they have the work before they start. I don't know why people are doing this shit backwards. You know what I mean? And so we're going to start going into safety, compliance, hiring stuff, things that we should do in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to come on Thursdays and just keep doing more training, guys. And about setting up the authorities, why people pay too much, the stuff they shouldn't pay for, requesting a PIN, starting authorities yourself. I got so many different topics on here on my sheet here I want to go over. I think there's 185 topics I think that are important about running a trucking company. You know what I mean? So each week we're going to talk about what you're doing and why you're holding yourself back from growing your company from one truck to more. Why are you still outsourcing when you know that the network you need to do the networking yourself, right? So I can keep going. I got so much on my mind. I'll talk for hours. I'm not going to bore you guys anymore. It's fucking 2 o'clock in the afternoon and people got things to do. So go out there, start thinking about where you run, your regions. Start thinking about using the load board to post 30 to 60 days out. Start staying close to your home, build a product. And start thinking about those commodities and those customers and where they're manufactured and what brokers are pulling for them, what loads they're not getting covered, and how you can cover them better than them. And will you make the call? That's the question to be said. Will we do the sales? Or are we just a steering wheel holder that thinks they own an authority and wants everybody else to do it for them? Peace out, guys. Give me a call if you need me.